David Muir, ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney Plus. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney Plus every night.
Tonight, the breaking news just as we come on, the state of emergency at this hour. Forecasters warning of this catastrophic storm now set to hit for more than half the country. Nearly 200 million Americans, heavy snow, crippling ice, and brutal cold. Tonight's storm warnings already up at this hour, watches up right into the Northeast. From Oklahoma, Texas, across the South, into the Carolinas, then up through Washington, D.C., Philadelphia. New York City on alert for potentially more than a foot of snow. This system will stretch 2,000 miles. Lee Goldberg standing by with the forecast, the newest track just in tonight. Also breaking the outrage in Minneapolis, images of a 5-year-old boy returning home from preschool, detained by ICE. Agents taking the boy and his father into custody. Vice President J.D. Vance in Minneapolis today defending ICE agents, claiming they were protecting the child, asking what are they supposed to do? Tonight, the heated hearing on Capitol Hill. For the first time in public, former Special Counsel Jack Smith pressed on his decision to indict President Trump for January 6th and for classified documents at Mar-a-Lago. What Jack Smith said today, Republicans taking aim, Democrats reminding lawmakers what Republican leaders and what Republicans on that committee said about President Trump's responsibility in the hours after January 6th. Tonight, after saying the U.S. would own Greenland, President Trump on his way home now. What he just said on Air Force One about Greenland, this framework of a deal, now claiming we'll know in 2 weeks. Tonight, the ABC News exclusive, the verdict, the officer on trial after Uvalde. Tonight, former Uvalde police officer Adrian Gonzales found not guilty of child endangerment and sitting down now with our John Quinones. That officer's message to the families tonight. The chaotic police chase, authorities say the suspect then tried to steal a patrol car, opening fire, shooting an officer. Tonight, a major turn in the legal showdown between actress Blake Lively and actor Justin Baldoni. Tonight, what Baldoni's lawyers have now asked the judge to do. The Oscar nominations are in tonight, the movie with the most nominations, the actors making history. From Sinners to One Battle After Another to Zootopia 2. Also news tonight, now the top cause of cancer deaths for Americans under 50 and why the medical community is so concerned. And the big announcement tonight, who's now set to play 30 nights at Madison Square Garden.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. We do begin tonight with the states of emergency up at this hour across several states, at least 10 states and counting already. This monster storm set to hit nearly 200 million Americans, more than half the country, about to get hit with this heavy snow, crippling ice, and brutal cold moving in. The slow-moving storm, staggering in size, expected to stretch 2,000 miles. New Mexico, Oklahoma, Texas, across the South, moving into the Carolinas and then up the East Coast to the Northeast. Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and in New York City tonight, authorities are preparing for the potential of more than a foot of snow. Tonight, snow and strong winds creating near whiteout conditions. This is outside Moreland, Iowa. One of the major concerns with this new storm, the dangerous ice. Tonight, authorities warning it could cause widespread power outages. Texas Governor Greg Abbott says the state's power grid is ready, but warns local outages are possible. We have reported on what happened to the grid in Texas before. In New York City at this hour, 2,000 snowplows and salt trucks getting ready, loading up, the massive salt piles ready. Families from Oklahoma City to Charlotte stocking up on supplies tonight, grocery store shelves going empty. Airlines already canceling flights tonight. In fact, just before we came on the air, Delta canceling flights in at least 5 states before the storm even hits. Lee Goldberg has the forecast and this dividing line to pay close attention to tonight. It'll determine who gets socked with snow and who doesn't. And Whit Johnson now on the states of emergency already tonight.
Tonight, millions of Americans across dozens of major cities bracing for whiteout conditions, crippling ice, and bone-chilling cold from a monster 2,000-mile-long winter storm. Overnight, lake-effect snow with thunder and lightning slamming upstate New York. Multiple states already declaring emergencies, including North Carolina. Residents in Charlotte stocking up for days, some critical supplies running low.
I'm getting ready, got my shovel. Got my power bank.
We sold out of ice melt. We've got some sleds left. They're going quick too.
From across the Atlanta area to Jackson, Missouri to Oklahoma City, parking lots and gas stations packed. shelves stripped bare. Delta canceling flights in 5 states, most airlines offering to waive change fees. New York City bracing for 6 to 12 inches of snow. Sanitation officials promising they're ready.
When we look at a wide forecast like this, a long duration, a heavy storm coming in at an unpredictable time, we've got to prepare for the worst case scenario, and that's what we're doing.
Fueling this massive system, a long duration Arctic blast, making it feel like 50 below in parts of the upper Midwest by morning and below freezing all the way south. The extreme cold will strain power grids and could lead to blackouts. In 2021, a massive ice storm crippled the Texas power grid. Nearly 250 people died in the state. Now, with sub-freezing temperatures expected over multiple days, Governor Greg Abbott trying to reassure the public.
The ERCOT grid has never been stronger, never been more prepared, and is fully capable of handling this winter storm.
And David, this facility behind me is holding 10 million pounds of salt. Officials tell me it's all hands on deck, not just for the storm, but the freezing temperatures expected to last for days. David?
That mound of salt right here in New York City. Whit Johnson leading us off with thanks so much. Let's get right to WABC's chief meteorologist, Lee Goldberg. And Lee, as you heard me mention there, you were talking about this last night here, this dividing line that we're still watching very closely. It'll determine so much.
Still some questions, David, but coming into focus, and this is going to be a defining storm and week ahead for this winter. Just look at the alerts across the country. It's taking up 60-70% of the country, whether it be the cold warnings for 50 below wind chills to the ice warnings and winter storm warnings to the south, and then winter storm watches now up across the northeast. So we're basically 24 hours away from seeing the snow, ice, and rain start to break out across the deep south, across Texas and across Kansas and Oklahoma, and stretching into Mississippi and Alabama. And by Saturday, you've got this ice line all the way from Waco to Wilmington to the north side of Atlanta, then snow to the north up to Kansas City, up to about Norfolk. That's once we get into the weekend. The storm redevelops along the coast, and the question that remains is the mixing line along the coast. Regardless, we're going to get a thump of snow out ahead of this, but DC's a tough forecast, maybe even some mixing getting up to New York City if you believe the European model, and then we're just encased in the deep freeze into next week. David?
That's the story, too. The brutal cold that's then with us for many days after this. Let's hope the power does not go out for many. Lee, thank you so much. In the meantime, to the other news tonight, the growing outrage in Minneapolis, the images of a 5-year-old boy returning home from preschool, detained by ICE. Agents taking the boy and his father into custody. Vice President J.D. Vance in Minneapolis today defending ICE agents, claiming they were protecting the child, saying, what are they supposed to do? Matt Rivers in Minneapolis again tonight.
Tonight, the haunting images sparking a firestorm. A preschool boy standing in the Minnesota cold, swept up in the ICE crackdown. School officials say 5-year-old Liam, wearing his blue hat and backpack, and his father, Adrian Alexander Conejo Arias, had just pulled into their suburban Minneapolis driveway Tuesday when agents took that father into custody. The school then saying an agent essentially used the 5-year-old as bait, directing him to see if anyone else was home before taking the boy away. The district saying Liam is among 4 students recently detained.
The sense of safety in our community and around our schools is shaken, and our hearts are shattered. And honestly, at the end of the day, children should be in school with their classmates.
But DHS telling a different story, saying ICE did not target a child, claiming Liam's father is an undocumented immigrant and fled on foot, abandoning his son in the driveway. Tonight, during a visit here in Minneapolis, Vice President J.D. Vance saying the agents were protecting the child.
What are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to let a 5-year-old child freeze to death?
But the district says multiple people on scene did offer to take the child, but were refused. Vance broadly praising the work of federal agents, saying the vast majority are doing excellent work. But for the first time tonight, the administration telling me they are willing to discipline ICE officers, quote, when justified.
Somebody did something wrong, yes, they're going to face disciplinary action, but we're not going to judge them in the court of public opinion.
Vance saying he's trying to ease soaring tensions amid furious protests.
I'm in the gas! Get back! Gas is coming!
Border Patrol Commander-at-Large Greg Bavino tossing a smoke grenade into an unruly crowd. Agents pinning this person to the ground, this stunning image of the pepper spray at close range.
And David, tonight, the chilling image of that little boy standing out in the cold, striking a chord with so many here. The family's lawyer saying the boy's father did come to this country legally. And David, tonight we've learned that both father and son are being held together at a processing facility near San Antonio. David.
Matt Rivers in Minneapolis. Matt, thank you. To the heated hearing on Capitol Hill for the first time in public, former Special Counsel Jack Smith pressed on his decision to indict President Trump. Republicans taking aim today how Jack Smith responded, and Democrats reading quotes from Republican leaders and what they said about President Trump in the hours after January 6th. Here's Pierre Thomas.
Tonight, in a hotly contested congressional hearing, former Special Counsel Jack Smith speaking in public at length for the very first time, saying he was right to indict President Trump.
Our investigation developed proof beyond a reasonable doubt that President Trump engaged in criminal activity.
And he said he would do it again.
Based on the same facts today, I would do so regardless of whether that president was a Democrat or a Republican.
Smith testifying he has no regrets despite receiving death threats and having been personally attacked by President Trump for charging him with illegally retaining classified documents, obstruction of justice, and engaging in a conspiracy to overturn the 2020 election. Charges Trump flatly denies and that were later dropped.
President Trump was charged because the evidence established that he willfully broke the law.
But Republicans attacked Smith from the moment he was sworn in, accusing him of being a politically motivated prosecutor trying to stop Trump from being reelected.
It was always about politics. And to get President Trump, they were willing to do just about anything.
Democratic Congressman Jared Moskowitz among those defending Smith, claiming hypocrisy by many Republicans who he claims changed their view of January 6th.
Steve Scalise, United States Capitol Police, saved my life. Lindsey Graham, when it comes to accountability, the president needs to understand his actions were the problem.
The hearing caught the attention of President Trump, who was thousands of miles away overseas, posting on social media, based on his testimony today, there is no question that deranged Jack Smith should be prosecuted for his actions. Smith suggesting he expects no less.
Do you believe that President Trump's Department of Justice will find some way to indict you?
I believe that they will do everything in their power to do that because they've been ordered to by the president.
David, DOJ is reviewing how Smith handled his cases against President Trump. We await those findings. But today, Smith was defiant, saying, "I will not be intimidated." David?
Pierre Thomas tonight. Pierre, thank you. This evening, after claiming for months the U.S. would own Greenland, President Trump is now on his way home at this hour. What the president just said on Air Force One, what he's now saying about Greenland, and claiming we'll know more in 2 weeks. Here's Rachel Scott.
President Trump heading home from Europe, insisting he got what he wanted. But tonight, his framework deal on Greenland, anything but clear. This morning, he gave different answers on whether the U.S. will now control Greenland as he demanded.
Mr. President,
he told me yes.
Greenland? Will you have control of all of Greenland, Mr. President?
How many countries? But about an hour later, he said this.
Does this ultimately mean that the U.S. will ultimately acquire Greenland?
Well, I don't know if I can say that, but it could be. I mean, it's possible. Anything's possible.
As of now, there is no deal on the table, nothing in writing. Greenland is part of Denmark, and Denmark says that's not changing.
I think it's clear for everybody that we are a sovereign state, and we cannot negotiate about that because it's a part of the very basic democratic values.
A U.S. official tells us President Trump and the NATO Secretary General discussed stationing additional U.S. military forces at bases in Greenland, something the U.S. already has permission to do under a 1951 agreement. Today, Europe's leaders making it clear they will stand up to the U.S. again if need be.
This is why it is so important for all of us, also for our partners in Washington, to understand the difference between domination and leadership. Leadership is okay.
And tonight on Air Force One, the president asked again, is the U.S. going to own Greenland? He said we'll know in 2 weeks, something he said many times about other issues before.
Can you elaborate more on we're trying to understand what exactly the concept is here. Is the U.S. going to actually take ownership of it?
We'll have something in 2 weeks. There's a good spirit to get something done.
So again, that 2-week timeline is something that we have heard before, but tonight still a lot of questions about what kind of presence the U.S. will have in Greenland, David.
Rachel Scott back with us. Rachel, thank you. Tonight, former Uvalde school police officer Adrian Gonzales has been found not guilty, and that officer sitting down exclusively with John Quinones.
We, the jury, find the defendant.
The verdict was swift.
Not guilty.
Former Uvalde school police officer Adrian Gonzales found not guilty on all charges that he failed to confront the gunman during the crucial first minutes of the massacre at Robb Elementary. Families of the victims stunned by the verdict, some weeping in the courtroom.
I mean, we had a little hope, but it wasn't enough.
Tonight, Adrian Gonzales sitting down with us for an exclusive interview.
I did the best that I could with the information I was getting.
Gonzales was the first officer to arrive, but he says he never saw the shooter and went into the school within minutes. Do you feel you're being made a scapegoat?
When the videos came out and started playing, yes, I realized that, they handpicked me. They had an excuse for everybody else.
Gonzales and his lawyers warned that a guilty verdict would have had a chilling effect on how officers respond to the next school shooting if they had to fear prosecution.
We don't know when, we don't know where, but it's going to happen again.
He was born and raised in Uvalde, spending 20 years as teacher and coach, but now says he and his family cannot go back.
This is a struggle for me, for my family, to get up and leave. It's hard.
Gonzales says he understands what his acquittal means to the victims' families.
Every day when I go to work, I pray for them. I pray for them and their families, and not just them, but the community,
David, the only other officer charged in this case is the former Uvalde's police chief of the schools, Pete Arredondo. He has pleaded not guilty. David?
John Quinones with the interview tonight. John, thanks. When we come back here, the chase, the suspect opening fire on police. Authorities say the suspect then tried to steal a patrol car, shooting an officer. Also, the major news tonight, the top cause of cancer deaths now for Americans under 50. A major turn tonight in that legal showdown between actress Blake Lively and actor Justin Baldoni. And the Oscar nominations are in tonight. The movie with the most nominations, the actors making history. And from Sinners to One Battle After Another to Zootopia 2. A lot more news ahead. We'll be right back. Tonight, the dramatic police chase and shootout in Northern California. Police cornering a carjacking suspect in downtown San Jose. Authorities say the suspect tried to steal a squad car. The suspect was killed. An officer was also wounded. Tonight, the American Cancer Society says colorectal cancer is now the leading cause of cancer deaths for Americans under 50 in this country. Researchers associate several risk factors, including obesity and diet, highly processed foods, urging screenings at 45 sooner if there's a family history. When we come back tonight, the big announcement, who's set to play 30 nights at Madison Square Garden. To the index of other news, actor and director Justin Baldoni asking a federal judge in New York City to throw out Blake Lively's sexual harassment lawsuit against him. The judge not ruling on the request, but questioning whether all of Lively's claims related to their film It Ends With Us deserve to be heard by a jury. Lively stands by her claims tonight, Baldoni denying the allegations. Tonight, Harry Styles with new tour dates for 2026, revealing a 30-show residency at Madison Square Garden. His new album comes out in March. When we come back on the broadcast tonight, the Oscar nominations are in, history made, and the movie setting a record tonight for the most nominations ever. Finally tonight, the Oscar nominations making history already. Tonight, the Oscar nominations are in.
Let's rock and roll! Yeah. Let's go!
History made.
Somebody take me in your arms tonight.
The movie Sinners, leading with a record 16 nominations, the most ever, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor for Michael B. Jordan, who plays twins in the movie.
Love you. Love you too. Be careful. I will.
Sinners using body doubles, state-of-the-art technology, including a shoulder-mounted rig with 10 cameras to pull it off.
You boys twins? Nah, we cousins.
Michael B. Jordan up against Leonardo DiCaprio for Best Actor in One Battle After Another.
Okay!
13 nominations for that movie, including Best Picture. Frankenstein, Sentimental Value, and Marty Supreme, all Best Picture nominees as well, each with 9 nominations.
And it's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
Timothée Chalamet, now the youngest male actor ever to earn 3 nominations in a leading role.
Backhand, forehand.
In the Best Actress category, Kate Hudson in Song Sung Blue.
I go out walking after midnight.
And Emma Stone in Begonia.
You shaved off my hair?
Yes, we've shaved off your hair.
And this summer's blockbuster, Disney's Zootopia 2, nominated for Best Animated Feature.
We took an oath to make the world a better place.
Disney's highest-grossing animated film of all time.
Here we go.
The 98th Academy Awards, March 15th, right here on ABC. Can't wait, right here on ABC, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow to get through this storm. Good night.
David Muir, the most watched newscast in America. And now, ABC's World News Tonight has won the Emmy for Best Live News Program for the third year in a row.